Hi everyone, welcome to financialexpress.com budget special series. Today we have with us Kunal Chaudhary from EY India, and he's going to tell us what we can expect from Finance Minister Arun Jaitley on the indirect tax front and the biggest indirect tax reform in the offing, that is goods and services tax. Hi Kunal.
Hi.
So Kunal, what is it that Finance Minister Arun Jaitley can do on the indirect tax front? What are the expectations?
See, in terms of indirect taxes, considering GST is going to come in July, we don't expect too many changes which may be announced, at least on excise service tax. There may be some changes which may be announced on the customs duty side, and some more announcements which may be made for Make in India side, but we don't expect too many changes which may come on the indirect tax side. So it will be a subdued indirect tax budget.
Okay, but on the GST front, considering that it's been touted as the biggest indirect tax reform since independence, do you think Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will have more clarity to offer in the budget?
Yeah, we expect a lot of announcements to happen on GST in the budget. More around what is the action plan, roadmap, more clarity around what's been agreed with the GST Council. So we expect a lot of announcements procedurally as well as otherwise, and giving more clarity on when they will be ready and how will it approach.
Okay, so Kunal, if I were to break down what GST or goods and services tax means for the layman or our viewers who would be wondering what this whole buzz around GST is, why is it so important for all of us? How does it impact us? So what would you tell them? What is GST?
GST, I would just, if I have to explain GST in a simple term, it's essentially a combination of VAT, excise and service tax, where on a transaction now there's only going to be one tax which will be applied. I'll just take an example of a hotel. If currently we go and stay in a hotel, we have various kind of taxes which are levied on a hotel bill. There is a luxury tax which is levied, then there is a service tax which is levied, then there is VAT also which is levied on the food component. Now we'll only see one component which is called GST, easy to understand for everybody, and more simplistically it'll merge all the laws. It'll merge around 16 laws into one law.
Okay, but does that mean that the amount of tax that I'm paying will come down?
It should. GST, worldwide has resulted in a lot of economy. It has resulted in a lot of growth in the GDP. On the rate of tax front, or so services are expected to go a little dearer, but we should expect some goods to become cheaper because the rates which they have introduced under GST, cumulatively will be lesser than what's currently being paid. And there's going to be a lot of efficiency around lost credit, seamless flow of credits, which will automatically flow in the economy, not in the first year, but maybe a little later.
Okay, but as you said, there will also be better transparency in the system. Does that also mean there will be greater tax compliance? Will the government be able to expand its base when it comes to indirect taxes?
Yeah, definitely. GST, the way the whole mechanism of GST has been introduced, there's definitely going to be a lot more transparency, which should result in more expanded tax base. Lesser exemptions will also increase the tax base. So we definitely, with the reconciliation mechanism matching concept, definitely there's going to be a more transparency and better compliance as compared to today.
Okay. There's also this thought process that demonetization a few months or quarters ahead of GST was actually a thought out move, where you're getting people to move towards cashless and getting people to more transactions under scrutiny, so that ultimately it means that GST will be a success only after people start complying. So do you think demonetization was a step in that direction as well? Will it help?
Definitely yes. GST will supplement demonetization because demonetization will improve transparency, which is also supplemented by GST, where each transaction will be reported. So definitely it is supplementing what demonetization did, and it's a move forward. I'm not sure if it was a well thought or was it a pre-launch to GST, but yes, it will help.
But it will help. Okay, great. And what about corporates? How will they be affected with GST?
See, every change generally it means initially for the first 6 months means more teething problems, more work. But after, I believe within 6 months the industry should gear up and should be, willing to accept this as a welcome change, because the way GST has been promulgated and the way the compliances are designed, there's though there are state-wise compliances which will still need to be done, but in terms of automation, in terms of seamless credits, there's going to be definitely an efficiency which will come in.
Are there any immediate roadblocks that you think are there when you're talking about teething problems, or any immediate issues that can be foreseen and then addressed?
Yeah, I definitely on the compliance front for where most of the VAT dealers, small dealers who generally have computers, who are not electronic, now everything is going to be electronic. So I see some training, hand-holding need there, which will also be one of the primary thing which both the public as well as private sector will have to, the government also will have to take steps to do, because that's going to be the prime and the core of GST.
Okay, there's the entire thought process around GST is also about how it's going to propel economic growth in the backdrop of, again, demonetization and the fact that some analysts believe it is going to slow down the economy. Will GST be able to mitigate that effect?
Worldwide, wherever GST is been introduced, generally in the first half of the year or first year, there's been a price increase, and then only the effect of GST comes in. So first 6-9 months with demonetization and industry expecting a slow growth, so GST may not be able to may further add fuel to it, but it may not.
So it will actually be inflationary in nature, is what you're
for the first few
quarters.
Because the efficiency of GST only comes after everybody's on board and things started falling in place. So it'll take at least 6-9 months.
My household budget may take a hit, not in terms of essentials, because a lot of these things don't come under GST, but in terms of services, as you said. So my household budget may take a hit after GST.
So they've introduced an anti-profiteering clause under GST where they're saying that any benefit which anybody gets from GST needs to be passed on, though it's only a provision which they can introduce. So there's also a possibility that they may want to introduce that provision.
Okay, one last question, Kunal. How will GST help in the overall scheme of ease of doing business in India?
See, definitely, in terms of ease of doing business, first 6 months with greater compliances, more compliances, it may be a teething issue. But in terms of ease of doing it, because it'll be more transparent, more people on board, and everybody will know, everybody is going to report all transactions. So in terms of trust and faith, that should increase, and that's something which will have. What will also have is that currently there are so many taxes, and all taxes are done by state. So in terms of ease of doing, now we'll only have one tax. Currently there are around 16 taxes which are getting subsumed under GST. So everybody has to do compliances differently. Every state has a different rule. So there will be consistency in rules. There will be consistency in position. There will be one authority. So that definitely is going to be easing out a lot of ambiguity around taxes in India.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Kunal. Thank you for talking to us. And all of us can definitely look forward to GST being rolled out into the economy, and despite all teething problems that we may envision, it's a reform that is likely to bring in greater tax compliance and will definitely propel economic growth. It may again mean that your individual budget may be impacted, but there are a lot of aspects to it which are unclear, and we hope that Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will be able to provide much clarity in the budget on that front. For all budget-related stories, don't forget to log on to financialexpress.com.